What's up, guys? I'm sure you got two questions on your mind. Why do I look funny, and where are the stories at? Well, as far as why I look funny, I was just born that way, a little goofy looking. No, I will get into the whole reason why the camera setup is the way it is, but as far as what this video is going to be about, you guys have been sending me a lot of questions, concerns, some criticism, and I just want to answer it all here. Hopefully I can give you guys a focal point in the future if you've got some questions and somewhere I can lead you to say, hey, check out this video if you've got some questions or comments or concerns. Anyways, first and foremost, this is completely off the cuff. Let's just get that out in the open. I will ramble here and there. I'm going to try my best to stay on topic. Can't promise that'll happen, though. Yeah. Also, this is not an apology video. Let me make that clear. A lot of channels have been making apology videos. That's not what this is. Cool. I'd probably make a lot more views if this was an apology video, but no, not an apology video. Cool? Cool. All right. First and foremost, why do I read a story if at the end of the story I'll go ahead and say, this didn't quite feel like it fit in this subreddit? For example, today, and I'm going to be using this example a lot in this question, today I read a pro-revenge story, actually two, and at the end of the stories I said, great stories, but didn't quite feel like they fit in pro-revenge. Two reasons why I'll still read that. Number one, my opinion is one man's opinion. It may not be your opinion. It may not be the next guy's opinion. Though it may be the guy after that opinion. I can't speak. Maybe his opinion. Everyone's going to have different feelings on what would fit, what won't, what have you. We're all going to have our own different comments about stories. That doesn't mean anything as far as whether or not a story should belong. The person who I'm going to refer to, or I should say people who I'm going to refer to, whether or not a story should belong, or I should even consider reading it, are going to be the moderators. They're the ones who are in control of the subreddit, so they're the ones who I'm going to go to. If a story hasn't been removed, I'm going to assume they thought it was a pro-revenge story, like today's story. It was a pro-revenge story, so I'm going to still consider that to be read. And number two, and much, much more importantly than number one, is I'm looking for good stories. I don't really care if a story felt like it was a pro-revenge. Well, I take that back. As long as it's got an overall vibe of the subreddit, right? So I don't really care if it's following certain criteria that goes on in my mind. Like, oh, it should have this, this, and this happen, or it should feel this way or whatnot. As long as it's got a certain flow to it that is similar to pro-revenge, then I'm going to read it. And it's a good story. As long as I can read this story, like thoroughly get into it, thoroughly enjoy the story, know you guys are going to enjoy the story, then I'm going to read it. Plain and simple. All right? Number two, comment on the story. I do a lot of comments on the story, and I know you guys are very split on that. Some of you like it, some of you don't care, some of you hate it. It's the whole spectrum here. But to be honest, it's not going to change. If you don't like it and just can't stand it, I specifically changed the background of each new story simply so you guys would know when a new story is, or transitioning to a new story. So if you don't like it, as soon as you see those texts start to fade away, then you're going to know, okay, well, the story is over. Let's move on to the next one. And you can move past the comments if you'd like. Or if you still just don't like it and you can't stand it and it does not belong in these videos or whatever, I'm sorry, but this channel may not be for you. I don't want to sound rude, and I honestly don't want to lose any of you guys because I love you all and I love having this connection and getting to tell stories to you guys, and it's fun to me and I thoroughly enjoy it. But if that's just something that just bugs you so much and you just can't stand it, then there are a lot of Reddit channels out there, and maybe you'll find your home at another one. Next, this kind of leads into the next one. Why are there so many Reddit channels, and why are they all reading the same stuff? I go to all these recommendations today from, let's say, malicious compliance, and all of them are the same story. What's going on? This is bullcrap. There's quite simply, without rambling on too much, like me a whole video of the rise and fall, supply and demand of Reddit reading stories and where it came from and whatever. All that, sorry, I'm a little sick still, but all that really matters is that you guys know that there are a lot of Reddit readers out there. The supply is very high, demand not as high. So if you're saying, let's say you're watching some pro revenge videos, and all of a sudden your recommendation feed fills with everyone's new pro revenge videos, and you think, wow, look at all these stories I've got. Look at all these videos I can watch. Look at all these pro revenge stories I can listen to. That's just not the case. Generally, at any given point, and I keep using pro revenge, it's just the easiest for me to remember as I'm rambling on at the moment. But let's say if you look at pro revenge right now, as far as videos or stories that are going to be in the top stories of within, let's say, a time frame of about 2 days, there's only going to be about 5 stories total. And that's generally the time frame, sometimes even less, that Reddit readers like to go for, just because you don't want to read stories that have already been read over and over and over, so you're going to want to read new stuff. But that means that whenever a new story comes out, if it's good, everyone's going to read it. So if you see a new pro revenge video across multiple different channels, it's probably very similar stories. So my suggestion to you would be to find your favorite, either 1, 2, maybe 3 at the most, Reddit readers that you really, really enjoy, and just stick with them. Whether or not that's me, and I hope you guys stick around, but even if it's not, find those people who just you thoroughly enjoy to listen to, and go ahead with them. Otherwise, you're just going to be listening to a lot of the same stuff and frustrating yourself as to why everything's the same, because a lot of times it is. Next is going to be mistakes in reading. These things happen, unfortunately. I like to imagine that I've gotten better. If you go to and please don't, but if you go to my original videos, they're bad. There's a lot of mistakes in a lot of those, and the reading's bad, and the mic's bad, and I'm not proud of it, and it still boggles my mind that people still listen to it, but they're bad, and I like to imagine I've gotten better. I like to imagine I'll keep getting better, and I'll keep progressing and moving towards hopefully getting it as best as I possibly can, but that best I possibly can will never be perfect. I will always have mistakes somewhere. Maybe if I did YouTube Reddit 20 years from now, will never happen, but if it happened, then maybe I'd get to the point where I make a mistake once a month in one video, but I'll still never be perfect. If you can't stand that, if you can't stand to be reading along and then think, well, why did this guy say something that didn't fit there? I'm sorry, but it's going to happen. I'm only human, and your best bet, if you just can't stand that, is going to be to try and listen to some robot reads. They're the only way that you're going to get 100% certain that they'll never make a mistake, because they just read it through the computer. So that's just the way it is, unfortunately. And I'm going to keep trying. Like I said, I'm going to keep trying to do better and get the best I can. But if you thoroughly enjoy that bit of life and passion that you get from an actual person, and you might just have to suck it up every once in a while and just know that someone's going to make a mistake. Why do I read some of the stories as they weren't written? Now, this is something that people sometimes get confused with me making mistakes. And this is not a mistake. Whenever I change up some parts of the story, unless it was very obviously a mistake, unless sometimes I read something that obviously was the wrong word, that was a mistake. But if something was reworded, generally the reason I do that is to help the flow of a story. Now, I've had some people say, and not even mean, just genuine criticism, that you shouldn't change it, that this is people's experiences, and I 110% agree with you. I will never, ever, ever change the way a story was meant to be. The only times I'm going to change a story is to help the flow in the way that it was meant to be written. A lot of times, the only times I will change is if it was either a grammatical error, if they typed it up quickly and it was jumbled together and it was a run-on sentence that is really hard to read, or worded poorly, or whatever have you, that I will not change the story away from the way it was supposed to be. Like, for instance, if a boss was being a bully, I wouldn't say, well, I didn't like the way that the boss was being a bully this way. Maybe if instead of saying this, he actually said this in the story, because this is more of an exciting story, and this is the way it should. No. I will never change the way a story is, because that's the way it happened. These are real life encounters, and I'm not going to change the way a story is. Even if I ever read fictional stories, that's not the way the original writer intended it. The only time I'm going to change it is if it was not meant to be written in a certain way. If it was jumbled up words, like I said, grammatical errors. For instance, there was at one point in the past, there was a cast, a list of characters that were written, and someone got really mad that I didn't read it exactly as written. But the way it was written made absolutely no sense to read. So what I did was I reread that in a way that made sense. The exact same cast, the exact same everything, didn't change anything of the story, just was able to read it to you guys in a way that was way that you could understand. So I hope that clears up a lot of questions in that regard. Next, if you guys just came here for Reddit content, this is where you get off. I'm going to be deviating a little bit and going into my other channel, the gaming channel, and the future name of this channel. First, I want to get into the gaming channel, and I apologize. When I first made that gaming channel, I 100% wholeheartedly believed that I was going to be making every other day, maybe even daily sometimes, content, and I was going to bust it out until I realized, holy crap, that is a lot of work for one person. To go from making Reddit content and then on top of that making gaming content, it was just too much to do that much. I plan on ramping it up from where it is now because it kind of just stopped altogether. I would like to get twice a week. That is my goal right now, and that's what I'm striving for, and to grow from there. To hopefully keep going, and maybe one day it'll be a daily thing. But for now, I want to get to twice a week and grow from there. So that is why the camera's angled this way, because it seemed to be the best for long-term footage. And finally, the future of the channel name. So I know a lot of people were upset when the name left from Foobier, went to Smooth Stories. And to be quite honest, I hate to backtrack and say I feel dumb, but I was wrong. The reason I left from wanting to move away from Foobier was I feel like it didn't represent me in the slightest. It didn't. I've never had anything named Foobier. It meant nothing to me until I got rid of it, and I realized the whole thing is since I made this channel, my name has been Foobier, and that's just, although it didn't start as being part of me, it is now, and I can't move away from that. Not even saying that people won't let me, but I won't let me. I will miss the name, and it's like you don't know what you have till it's gone. So I plan on not moving 100% back to Foobier, but to Foobier Stories, and keeping the name Foobier if I ever wanted to do more channels. The name Foobier might actually be the name of the gaming channel, but we'll just find out. We'll find out in the future. But for the moment, it's going to stay as is. I just contradicted myself, but YouTube won't let me change. For whatever reason, they're not letting me change for a period of time because apparently I've switched too many names, even though I've changed two. I changed my gaming channel, my main channel, and now I can't change any channels, but okay. So for now, it's going to stick with Smooth Stories Foobier, but it's eventually going to be Foobier Stories or something similar to that. But anyways, that's going to wrap it up for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.